Women's Sports Mix.
Cambridge Radio.
Hello, I'm Alex Elbro.
And I'm Amy Gray.
And we are the A-Team. Welcome to the Women's Sports Mix Show, our fortnightly discussion on women's sports, promoting grassroots sporting opportunities for women and girls in the region and spotlighting our talented sportswomen. And today we're talking about Cambridge-born Olympian Tess Howard MBE, about her inspiring career in hockey and the story behind her being awarded her MBE in the 2025 New Year's Honours for her service to women and girls in sport, particularly for her successful campaign for inclusive sportswear in hockey.
We also have local football, rugby and ice hockey results for you. We'll find out who did a ceremonial puck drop at the recent Cambridge Kodiaks home game at the Cambridge Ice Arena. I'll be chatting to head coach George Alley of the Kodiaks. We'll also look at those semi-final results in the County Cup and the drama of a postponed fixture. For Histon ladies, I've caught up with Stute's assistant manager Liz Pamplin.
It's all getting very exciting and very tense, isn't it?
It is, Alex, and the final will be coming up towards the end of April.
Very, very good. Coming up next is our chat with Tess Howard. Tess Howard MBE is a Team GB Olympian, current England hockey player, Commonwealth gold medalist and sport kit activist. Over the last few years, Tess has led the successful campaign for international hockey to change their clothing regulations to allow the choice of shorts and skirts in the same team, where previously only skirts could be worn. Tess is determined the movement not to stop just at hockey or in the UK, and is on a mission to educate, advocate and inspire a movement in inclusive sport kit policies based on choice and comfort. We caught up with Tess as she just arrived back from playing for England in China, and the first thing I asked her was to give us an idea of how she first got into sport.
Yeah, well, I started playing rugby actually at Cambridge Rugby Club. That was where I sort of learnt what it was like to play in the mud and the rain and the joy of it. Played in the boys team. My dad was one of the coaches. I adored it. And then when I was 11, girls couldn't play rugby anymore. They figured out that the best player on the team was a girl. So no, I'm joking. But actually, yeah, so I had to stop playing rugby, and my mum took me instead to Sunday hockey training at Cambridge City Hockey Club. And that's kind of where I fell into the sport. Then we played it at school as well. And there was something about the team aspect, the individual aspect, skill, tactics, all of that really gripped me. And here I am as a professional.
Did you ever think that you would become professional when you were younger? I mean, you obviously played the sport because you loved it.
Yeah, no, I never, it was never an ambition of mine. I went to watch the London 2012 Olympics when I was 13, and I got to watch one of the hockey games, and I remember making a scrapbook of all my Olympic experiences, but never did I think that was something that A, I could do, or B, that I wanted to do. My mum works in conservation, and I was always determined to follow in her footsteps. It was only actually when I was 19 and I went to watch the World Cup in 2018, which was hosted in London. I watched pitch side and just burst into tears, because at the time I was in the under-21s. I didn't know how good I was, and I suddenly realised that I wanted to be on the pitch playing for my country at senior level. And it was 3 months later that I was called up to the team. So it was kind of a whirlwind 2018 for me. From a young age, I just loved sport. So I didn't feel like it was something I needed to do to be professional. I just loved playing.
That's wonderful. You said that it was a whirlwind year. How did it feel going to that first tournament, playing for your country? It
was incredible. We were in Changzhou in China, which was for the Champions Trophy, so away from home. My mum and dad managed to get visas and come out and watch as well. I remember it being a crazy fast-paced match. I'd never played senior international hockey, and we were playing against China, the hosts. It was wild, and they had the stadium was packed, and then sort of I blink and it's 7 years later I'm still doing it.
And how do you think it's changed? Has it changed in that time, or have you seen it changed from when you were younger to how much coverage women's hockey gets now?
Well, yeah, I was lucky to be growing up as a junior England player at the time when women's hockey was really celebrated a lot. We had London 2012 where they won bronze, and then Rio 2016. So I was 17 at the time, and we actually had Kate Richardson-Walsh and Helen Richardson-Walsh come to my school because there was a connection with our deputy head. And I remember being sat next to Kate for a school dinner, and then she put her medal around me and said, "Now you go get yourself one of these." And that was a pinch me moment. I didn't think I would believe her words, but clearly it touched something very deep inside of me. So I think and hockey is really growing. It's been, I think when you're in a successful sport with history, a historically successful sport, you expect to win, which hasn't been the case my whole career, and it's been tough because we've had a lot of change in the team, and it feels now like we're starting to find our groove again. But international sport is never smooth sailing, and there's always ups and downs. So I think I didn't expect there to be so much of a roller coaster in international sport.
And you were talking about having the medal put on you. You are now a Commonwealth gold medalist. I mean, that's got to be one of the highlights of your career, your life. How did it feel?
It's definitely one of the highlights, and I was lucky enough to touch the ball in the back of the net, be the right place at the right time, and to be able to have the whole nation celebrate your sport and something that you've done as a team. I think being at Birmingham 2022, we had never experienced anything like that as a squad, and it felt like the whole nation was behind us. And I remember the front pages were lionesses with sticks, and I've been trying so hard to get that to stick, but alas, it hasn't. But that's what it felt like. We had a huge win against Australia, and I say huge win, I mean it was 2-0, but they were one of the best in the world at the time, and so it wasn't like we had just rolled over some random teams. It was a big win for us, and that really set us on our way. We're getting ready for the Olympics.
You sort of touched on that very lightly there, that you were just in the right place at the right time. I'm going to say that takes a lot of training and a lot of knowing where you need to be. So I would
that's
never
all
say
goal scoring is.
Yeah.
Be in the right place at the right time when
and
honestly
all the glory.
Yeah, goal scoring is one of my big passions for the sport. Always has been. It's just you have to be in your complete flow state. Even like playing for my school, playing for Perth, and being able to take us to the finals of the national indoor competition. I remember we scored a goal with 6 seconds left on the clock, and that rush of feeling is the same whether you're in under 16 finals or playing in the Commonwealth Games. That it's honestly it's the same game, just faster and more intense, but the feelings are still the same.
I love how you say that you're in your flow state, because you can't stop to think about it, can you? If you're a goal scorer, you see a ball, you hit it towards the goal. It doesn't always work for everyone, but yeah, I see what you mean. You haven't got to think about, hang on, what should I do with this now?
I think the more you think, the worse it is, and it's something, the psychological side of the game is something that I've tried really hard to work on. Obviously there's the physical side, but to be honest, the margins at the top level are whether you can keep your cool or not. And I've certainly been on the not side a lot. So it's nice to have a few times where you get it right.
I can't imagine being in those sorts of games, being at the Olympics. That it's just something that my tiny brain just couldn't comprehend. But as you said, it's not just all the work that goes into playing. It's can you cope mentally with it as well? Such a big part of the game.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what is so great about junior sport, and it is preparing you if you choose to. All those moments where the chips were down in a school match and you had to find something deep inside of you to turn the game around, those sorts of things. I think the more I get older and the more experience I have, I realize how many of those moments of resilience or going through injury and things like that, you can draw on those in those moments when you need to. But I was certainly not ready for you're never ready for these moments. You just have to trust that you can do it, because once you've done it, then you say you've got the experience and you can keep on doing it. You have to just keep working. And if I'd stopped at the first mistake that I did, then I would never be where I am now.
And it's interesting, you just said there about you do the experience and then you learn from it. I think sometimes it's only afterwards you can look back and with the experience, can't you? I don't think even in the moment or several times after that, you suddenly think, oh, actually, those were good points. I mean, Gareth Southgate's talked about that, hasn't he? Missing that goal way back has given him the resilience to carry on. I mean, you wouldn't wish that on anyone, but he went on to do quite good things. And I think the 2012 Olympics really seemed to be a turning point for people to take more notice. I think obviously it was in this country, so it made a huge difference. But even the run up to 2012, there was a lot of people going, oh, it's not going to be ready in time, all this, that, oh, people aren't going to go. And then they were eating their words because the whole nation did rise for that. And I think it felt like that then gave a boost to all the Commonwealth Games afterwards, which we didn't always get so much coverage of. And obviously having it in Birmingham again helped.
Yeah, I think the way the coverage of men and women's sports increased since 2012, and particularly women's sport I just feel so fortunate to be living as an athlete at a time where it is taking off and women's athletes are being taken seriously. The Summer Olympics in Paris was absolutely incredible, and I think also because Tokyo was behind closed doors, there was less, I guess, engagement, and so Paris felt like almost it was a home Olympics for us. And having family and friends there, it just kind of amplified the whole experience. Even just having the Rugby World Cup for the Women's Rugby World Cup, and having the Euros on home soil, these things are really, really important, because as I said at the start, the reason why I became a hockey player professionally, or why I wanted to, was because I had the World Cup come to London. And I just think of all of those young girls who went to watch the Rugby World Cup or go to watch the Commonwealth Games, and they're having that exact moment. And you don't know, it's either you inspire them to keep running and keep being active, or you inspire them to become an Olympian maybe, and either's fine. Just it's great to have it on home soil.
And something that you've done as an Olympian that I'm absolutely certain is going to have such a positive impact on thousands and thousands of girls and women now and in the future as things get better, is your inclusive sportswear policy making, your kit activism. And this goes back to the Paris Olympics when you decided, I want the shorts. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, traditionally in hockey, you could only wear skirts to play, or skirts to play. Since I was 11, I wore skirts in school everywhere. And no one really questioned it, yet we wore shorts every day to train. And as a senior international, I was wearing shorts every day to play, and then came to matches and I was putting a compression skirt and a compression tank top, and my self-confidence plummeted. And I think as women we tend to just, I guess, soldier on, but it got to the point where, as I said, I was so delighted to win the Commonwealth Games, but I felt so uncomfortable in my body and self-conscious. At the same time, I'd completed my undergraduate research in the impact of gendered uniforms on girls' participation in sport. And my own self-confidence was so low from kit. And I was thinking, how is it going to feel for, the B team netballer, the person who's just trying to get through sports day? What does kit mean to them? And my research was so alarming that I had to do something about it. And we have 64% of girls leaving sport at 16, and a third of them say that they left because of kit. And that's something that we can solve. So in 2023, I decided, now that I had the tagline of being a medalist, I could do something. So I published my paper and started a campaign for the choice in hockey. And fortunately, the Federation of International Hockey replied with a yes. We sent a letter as a team asking for the change, and they changed the policy. And at the Euros in 2023, we ran out in half shorts, half skirts. And I think that may have come from quite a bold statement that I said, which was, I want to go to the Olympics in shorts, which the media loved, because, the policy had to be changed and had to get picked. So it was quite a statement, but it was incredible to be at Paris and wear shorts and feel like myself and be comfortable. And I'm so pleased that it's being taken seriously as it is, and inclusive sportswear has just helped change the national government guidance so that choice has to be given at schools now, and the promotion of sports bras. So these things that will make a massive difference to girls in schools, and we're starting to see schools change, which is great.
Tess, I think it's absolutely amazing what you've done, because it started with hockey and you had the preference for shorts, but it's so much more than this now. It's any kit for any sport. And I think you have a sort of focus on at school, because that's often where young girls, young women drop out. But also I know you do clubs and organisations and things as well. I think, why did anyone put up with a kit that wasn't quite right for them? And I know myself, when I was at high school, we used to do this thing where you had your regular bra, then you'd wear like a crop top underneath your t-shirt as well, for kind of a little bit of support and modesty. And your campaign is that at schools, let's say, can you get your daughter a sports bra? And you think, what a simple thing. No one had that in the sort of early 2000s when I was at school. These are quite simple things that are going to have a big impact for girls.
I'll back up that as well. I played hockey at school, and now I'm a lot older than both of you. We didn't even have sports bras. You're saying that about sports bra. Of course, I take it for granted now. I wouldn't dream of doing any exercise without a sports bra. But I think we just got changed into what we were wearing, and off we went. And we all, like, say, we had those sort of culotte. They weren't even compression ones. They were just like big old bloomer kind of things. And we had an office block next to our school field who took great delight in looking out as we were running around the pitch in whatever we were wearing. And it was just seen as that you weren't strong enough if you didn't take that on the chin, as it were. But it's ridiculous when you think how long men have been playing in shorts. Why did it have to be that there was a rule for one and not the other? It's mind-blowing when you think about it. And the fact that you've had to take national policy changes when really it's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? Like Amy was saying, we're so impressed that you've done this, because it could have gone the other way for you if the media or whoever so chose. How ridiculous.
Oh, 100%. It was a big risk, and that's why it took me so long. I think the first article I ever wrote was an opinion piece, and I hadn't won anything. I was just an undergraduate hockey player, and it was entitled "Hyper-Feminized Uniforms Are Putting Girls Off Sport," and nobody cared. Nobody cared. But then after winning the competition and then publishing my paper, I was suddenly an academic and an athlete medalist, and the media really got behind it, because the big takeoff point was when I published the paper, we sent a press release out with it. The journal wants to get press as well for having supported this paper, and it just absolutely took off, because there was both the hockey element of wanting change and the wanting change in PE kits, and that was in 2023. The change was introduced in November 2025. So that is a flipping long time of campaigning. And I was writing government letters, calls for evidence, national campaigns with ASICS and with Bristol University. And when I went to the Olympics, I finally had it's so funny, because whilst it was an incredible athletic moment for me as a performance piece of hockey, it was also the next step on this road to proving that choice can be had at the highest level and that you can look normal, and also that people respect the title of an Olympian, which I'm saying the same thing as I was 3 years ago, but just the narrative has completely shifted. And that's a really interesting experience to have been on. And I feel like a lot of people just assume that it was going to happen, but I was sat in this very room thinking about how I could do that. I've got my Ruth Bader Ginsburg mouse mat next to me, got my Gloria Steinem book. How am I going to get this change through? You actually have to take a leaf out of their book, which was leave the feminism behind and just lead with logic and clarity of policy change. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned. Do not make it political at all. I want to wear a pair of shorts because it's going to help me play sport to my best ability. And then that narrative, that argument travels to every single sport. And that's where the Inclusive Sportswear Charter was born, because I thought surely there is a set of principles that every sports kit policy should be based on. It comes actually from my last sentence of my dissertation, which was PE kit policies should enable and promote participation and enjoyment in sport. And if your policy is not doing that for your girls or for anybody, then it is null and void. It does not make sense for the purpose of sport. So you bring that to netball, bring that to hockey, bring that to lacrosse, bring it to gymnastics, and you see how it changes based on those principles. And it's been the most amazing experience to see something that I suppose was a wish list for me in hockey now become best practice.
And to give an example of how Tess and Inclusive Sportswear are looking at what's practical for girls, you have the PE, I can't remember the name you call them, the kit days, where you can come to school in your kit. So if you're someone that hates the locker room experience, that there's no privacy for whatever reason, you might be someone that just can't do that, come in your kit. Does it really matter if you come in your kit?
Yeah. The top 5 tips: number 1, talk to your students. Pupil voice is so important. The second one, PE kit days, because changing rooms make a big difference. The third, only 14% of girls say they wear sports bras. So promote sports bras. Choice in kit. A really interesting one is to allow any lower half item to be worn as long as it's either black or navy. Choose a colour, and that will radically increase people's comfort because the lower half is often the most important element. And the final one is to support different layers to be worn when it is cold and wet, because surprisingly schools don't often do that. And if you have a kid who can wear an Under Armour or a jacket that, again, choose a base colour, either dark or navy, then you still look uniform, but you're getting the most out of your kids. And it's just so interesting how small changes that are actually really cost effective can have a massive impact when you leave sort of, I guess, stereotypical aesthetics of what a uniform looks like at the side.
Yeah, and you said that the charter's only just come in at the end of 2025.
No, sorry, the charter's been around for a couple of years, but the PE kit policy from the government changed in November, which is a huge win. So now it's no longer a debate; it's government guidance, which is fantastic.
And so what's next for that then?
So next, Inclusive Sportswear has a free step-by-step process for schools to be able to become champions of inclusive PE kit policies. And essentially we want 3,500 secondary schools to join Inclusive Sportswear's online platform and become champions so that we know that their kit is never a reason for girls dropping out of sport. Same for primary schools. That is the next step. We've got the policy over the line in the school sector, and we need schools to follow suit and lead. In sports, it's the race to the alternative to the netball dress. It's the race to what gymnastics uniform could look like. It's kind of small wins in different areas to keep pushing the norm of what uniform looks like, to keep moving the dial so that choice is the number one thing that matters in sports kit policy.
And if anyone wants to know more about the charter and what you're doing, what's your website?
Yeah, the website's just inclusivesportswear.com, and there's free resources built with the Youth Sport Trust, so very reputable. And we're starting this school campaign called Fix the Kit, and we want all schools to join us on the Fix the Kit campaign to make sure that no one leaves sport because of sports kit.
So you're training at the moment, and how is your hockey career going?
It's going very well, thank you. We're just back from China, where we played in the Pro League and got victory over China, which was fantastic. They're the silver medalists, so we're moving in the right direction. We have the World Cup coming up in Belgium this summer. And then next year, very exciting, 2027, we're hosting the European tournament in London, which is going to be one of those pinch me moments for me because, where it all started in London, it will all come back to with the Europeans. So make sure you get your tickets for that. We've actually got the semi-finals and the finals at Twickenham Stoop, which will be really great. Hopefully it will be our Rugby World Cup moment where the whole nation gets behind us and we go on to, I guess their campaign names will be made is something that I'd love for us to do as well. And
when you're not playing internationally, are you still playing for a local club?
Yeah, sadly don't play for Cambridge City anymore, but they will still be strong in my heart. I play for East Grinstead, and it's sort of like a regular league, but hopefully we'll win the league this year. That's my aim.
And how do you find the switch between playing for like East Grinstead and then switching up and then playing internationally? does it like take a bit of a mindset?
Yeah, I guess it's quite so the top 5-6 teams in the league have most of the Great Britain players, so it's pretty competitive hockey. But it's kind of, I guess you're playing for one man and his dog on a weekend, and then you're playing for a packed stadium when you play for international. So I suppose it brings you right back down to earth with what grassroots hockey is, which I love. But I mean, East Grinstead, my club, they do a fantastic job. We've got flares and mascots, and it's really special community. So I enjoy that.
You said that you've been trying to push lionesses with sticks, and I feel like we need to give you a proper name. You can't have that. We've had the red roses.
It's the $1 million question, Alex. It's the $1 million question.
It's because we've got lionesses, and then you've got red roses, that's flowers. So you could have like some sort of strong tree or something.
Do you know what? If anybody in Cambridge comes up with something, please let us know, because we are struggling. We've had a whole mind mapping session, but I think lionesses with sticks is the strongest.
It is a good one. I can visualise that one. But me and Amy will have a few thoughts, and we'll let you know if we come up with something better.
Yeah, we'll pool our ideas and see what we come up with. And you'll probably say, that's already thought of it,
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Never know, we might come up with something.
I'm all ears.
We'll be on it. Thank you ever so much for your time, Tess. It's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you. And I wish you all the best for everything you're doing. And we'll look forward to seeing how it goes and maybe catch up with you another time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Cambridge is always close to my heart. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Tess, because for you to, obviously you have an incredible career, but the fact you've done that alongside the campaign that was not really for you, it's because of grassroots sports to make sure girls stay into it. It's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and thank you for being on the Sports Mix. We've been wanting to speak to you for a while, Tess, about the inclusive sportswear. You being from Cambridge, we're all very proud of you. So yeah, thank you for coming on the Sports Mix.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely.
Cambridge Radio Women's Sports Mix.
This is the Women's Sports Mix on Cambridge Radio with Amy and Alex. Thanks again to Tess for finding time to speak to us in her busy schedule.
Yeah, that was brilliant, wasn't it? And good luck to the England women's hockey team in the World Cup, which is coming up. It's in 2026 in August. It's Belgium and Netherlands who are hosting, and the group that England is in is China, England, India and South Africa. And our first game is on the 16th of August against South Africa.
That's going to be quite tough. They sound like all very good hockey nations.
They do sound good. I think, I don't know as much about hockey, but it looks like the teams that win it most are in other groups.
Okay.
So I don't know how good China are, because us and China are the top seeds in that group. But I'm seeing some of the big hockey teams in other groups. So maybe that's a good draw for us.
That's the same, isn't it? I guess World Cup, they're not going to be... Anyone's going to be not good at it,
none of them are going to be easy. Let's have an update now on our local teams. First, ice hockey in the Cambridge Kodiaks. They had a double header against Milton Keynes. They played them at home on Saturday, March 21st, and then the next night away at their place on the Sunday, and it was 2 wins for the Kodiaks. Very Excellent. Good. 4-1 and 7-1. I spoke to Kodiaks head coach George Alley and started off by asking him about the home game, which was their annual Pride game in support of the Kite Trust.
It was a successful night. Obviously, it's good to get the win, but we had a few extra things going on. We had a fantastic drag queen hosting the night called Charcuterie, who was brilliant all night. They gave the team a fantastic team talk as well. And we had a decent crowd in. And I overall say it was a big success. And we won. So that's a bonus.
Has Charcuterie been involved with ice hockey before?
I think this was their first official ice hockey event, but the players hired them for our Christmas do, and we thought it would be great to get them back, and they jumped at the opportunity and they were fantastic. Yeah, they were brilliant for us.
And were they out on the ice at one point?
Yes, that's right. We had a ceremonial puck drop. I think I got a Instagram snap from the bench, but our official photographer, Alex, will have some more high quality photos that we'll be able to share with everyone. But yes, that's right. And they came prepared. They came in Crocs. We've heard horror stories of drag queens going on the ice in high heels to do the ceremonial puck drop, but they've heard about this and came prepared in Crocs.
Well done, Charcuterie. Very sensible. And this was a double header. So the next night you were in Milton Keynes playing them again and improved the scoreline to 7-1.
Yeah, it was a politely, it was a spiteful weekend in terms of the hockey played. So it was quite nice to turn up in MK and, turn them over again. It felt like a playoff weekend where usually in the men's leagues, you do have these back-to-back with your opponents. You don't get it so often in the women's league. It's good in the sense that it builds up a bit of rivalry, bits of intensity, but I think, to be honest, over the weekend, it spilled over a bit too far. Now, whether that's down to the referees controlling it or us not managing ourselves is to be decided elsewhere. But I felt it spilt over a bit much. But the players did very well to step above the nonsense and come away with a very satisfying big win in their own barn.
As you said, these were quite intense games, a lot going on, as well as needing to play 2 games, 2 nights in a row. How did the team feel by the end of it? Was everyone exhausted?
I think so. I had to leave early, but a lot of them went to Tim Hortons and got themselves a well-deserved dinner on Sunday night after the game. And it was very well earned. They put themselves through it the weekend, did very well. So I'm very proud of the resilience of the players.
And what did you think of the performances from the Saturday to the Sunday? Was it a similar type of game, that sort of the same players doing well? How did that work out?
Saturday was an interesting one because Milton Keynes are quite a physical side. When you're playing on a smaller ice rink like our own, there's greater chance of contact and collisions. And that showed that there were points where the game could have spilled over and we had one player just coming off after a big hit, just having to take a moment to recover. I think it was closer because the rink played into their game a little bit. But once we got out onto their pad, so they play on an Olympic ice pad, I think we used the space far better than they did. And it allowed us to create some opportunities on the break and outskate them at point. Because I would say we were the faster team over the weekend, but our ice pad weirdly was the equaliser on Saturday. But it was the first periods in both games were fairly similar in that we rushed ahead to a big lead and then it slowed down a bit after that.
Well, very well done. Picked up 4 points against the Falcons at the weekend, so job well done. And you do have another home game before the next episode of the Women's Sports Mix. This is against Chelmsford Cobras on April the 4th. I think this is your last matchup of the season against the Cobras, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We're coming down to the final stretch of the season where we're starting to wrap up the series with everyone. So I think we've now played MK 4 times. We don't have to play them again. And then this will be the last time with Chelmsford. But we're now chasing that playoff spot. So our aim now is to try and win every game to get into it. So we can get into Sheffield and we need to overtake Firebees. But we do now mathematically have to beat everyone to do that. So it's going to be a tough run in for the next few weeks. But I do think we're up to it.
Thank you very much, George. And this isn't on the audio, but George did say to me, Alice Beardmore and Chloe Carter, who he described as an absolute menace, were both very good. He said Alice was very good on the Sunday, so well done to them.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely. All these local teams doing so well. It's very inspiring, isn't it?
It is. Thank you, Kodaks. It is inspiring, isn't it? How
really
great,
is.
How well they've done, yeah.
And now for rugby. Shelford women were at home to Old Albanian Saints, who are the team that have been changing places with them all season at the top of the league. However, despite a huge performance at Shelford and never giving up, they unfortunately lost 26-36. Shelford women have 2 more matches this season, away against Peterborough women on the 29th of March, and then they have a bit of a break, and their last game of the season is at home to Sutton Coldfield ladies on the 26th of April. Again, that's going to be a big one. But I think Old Albanian Saints had some games in hand. But they've done really well because they only moved up into that league. This is the second season, so all good.
This is Cambridge Radio, Women's Sports Mix.
You're listening to the Women's Sports Mix on Cambridge Radio with Amy and Alex. Shall we have a look at the football now, Alex?
Definitely. I've been excited for this.
Cambridge United women. We'll have a quick look at the league first. They had a loss on Sunday the 22nd away at Chatham. Positive signs at half-time because it was 0-0 and they're a good side, but it was a 2-0 loss in the end. They have fared better in the County Cup. They played Cambridge City and this time the second half goals went to the U's. That was 0-0 at half-time. In the end, it was a 3-0 win, taking the U's to the final. The other semi-final was Histon against Newmarket. It was a 1-0 victory for Histon. This sets up a great final, U's versus Histon, Alex.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to that one. We're going to go along, aren't we?
We're going to go along to that, definitely. Yeah.
Remind me what date it is?
29th of April, midweek for that one.
Okay, it's an evening fixture, but hopefully they'll still have the cakes there.
Herbies,
Just priorities,
And we will be previewing that.
Yeah.
in April on the Women's Sports Mix. So we'll have more information about that nearer the time. And looking at the league for Histon ladies, we had previewed on the last episode that they were heading to Biggleswade to potentially get the league title and secure promotion. But that game did not go ahead. I caught up with Liz Pamplin, assistant manager at Histon ladies, to find out more. Liz, we were all hyped up for the game against Biggleswade. It was a potential title clincher. And then the day before you travel, all the prep's done, it gets postponed. I have to say, when I saw this, that felt quite dramatic. How did the team feel about it?
Yeah, we had a really good training session on Thursday night. We'd set ourselves up. We were ready for the game. And unfortunately, Biggleswade have contacted us to say they didn't have enough players to fulfil the fixture. So, it was disappointing because we love football. We love playing games at the moment. And, when you're on a decent run, you just want to play games week on week. So we're disappointed that we didn't have the chance to go and have a go at clinching the title there. But that's the way football is sometimes. And they couldn't fulfil the fixture. And we respect them for letting us know that.
And what happens now with that fixture? Does it get looked at? Does it automatically get replayed?
Yeah, so what actually happens is the league management committee will then look at the ins and outs of why the game was postponed, and then they'll make a decision on what happens to the fixture. So there's any number of things that could happen to do with points or games being awarded or games being replayed, and the league management then decide what best option for the league as a whole and for the teams involved is. And so we just await their decision to see what happens with that.
So let's go on to a game that did take place. This was the County Cup semi-final against Newmarket. It was 1-0 to Histon, and the club described it on socials as a hard-fought battle.
Yes, it was a really close game, but we didn't expect anything different. Newmarket are a good side in our league, We've played them already once at the start of the season. They've got a really good history of being competitive at this level. So it was always going to be a tough game. And it's a semi-final. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to go to the County Cup final. So, they fought and battled hard. So did we. And as we have done all season, we managed to nick a goal that mattered when it mattered. Laura stepped up with a really good header from a corner. And 1-0 was enough, just enough on the day.
This sets Histon up for a very enticing final in the County Cup against Cambridge United Women, obviously a club that you know very well. Do you start looking at the Cup nearer the time? Are you still looking at the league games? When do you start looking at the Cup again?
It's actually quite nice. We said when we finished the semi-final, we had a conversation about it's really nice that the County Cup final comes right at the very end of the season. We'll have finished the league campaign, and that is exactly it. We've tucked a cup final in our back pocket, and we can revisit it when the league's finished because we've got 3 points to secure the league. And we're currently sitting on a 100% record. And what an incredible thing it will be to go through the league on a 100% record or unbeaten. So we want to focus on every single individual game coming up. And then when they're done, we're ready for the County Cup final and we'll go in, on a high, having secured the league before then.
So we go again for the potential title-winning 3 points. This time it's against Coney Heath away. And, they're in a relegation battle at the moment. Nothing's easy in this league. And we've seen with Cambridge City, teams at the bottom have been picking up points. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, they're deep in a relegation battle. And again, it's the same. It was the same as if we'd played Biggleswade this week. They'll be scrapping for every point. And the games are running out, so they need 3 points, really. Draws are probably not enough for them, so they'll scrap. And when they came to us quite early on in the season, they were one of the better sides that we played in terms of organisation and ability to defend well. Perhaps they didn't quite have enough up front to beat us on the day, and we only narrowly beat them 2-1. But they will be competitive. They'll be a tough side. They've got some experienced players, so we have to be as good as we possibly can be, desperate to take 3 points and clinch the title on our own terms on Sunday.
Thank you very much, Liz. And that away game against Coney Heath is on Sunday the 29th. Cambridge City now, as I said, they did lose that semi-final in the Cup against the U's, but have continued to pick up points in the league, which potentially might be more important to them. I don't know. So this is great news. It was a 3-0 win against Dunstable Town Lionesses. That was away. So they've got this run of away games and they're picking up points. This puts them 9 points clear of relegation. The teams around there have various games in hand and things like that. So nothing is resolved with relegation, but certainly this puts them in a good spot. And their final 3 games are all away. They've got Hitchin, Marlbarton, and they've got Biggleswade. And a reminder that this Sunday, the 29th of March, Cambridge United Women will be playing at the Abbey against London Bees. always great to check them out if they're playing in Cambridge, and they have that world record attempt that they're doing, so if you are going along, you do get the smart speaker as part of that promotion.
Oh yeah, that sounds really fun, doesn't it? And of course from next season they will be playing their games in Cambridge, so that's going to make an extra addition to knowing that they're always going to be around here, usually at Grange Road, but sometimes probably still at the Abbey, won't they?
Yeah, looking to, I think, get even more support in next year.
Yeah, that'll be brilliant.
Women's Sports Mix. Cambridge Radio.
So, Amy, Gladiators, we haven't really spoken about them much this season.
Even though it's your absolute favourite.
I know. Well, I don't know whether I've just, I've done too much of it now, but maybe I've come to the realisation that I'm never going to be on it.
Oh, you thought you were going to be on it?
Well, we've discussed in the past which ones we reckon we could have a go at. I feel like there's too few that I could actually have a go.
Well, which ones do you want to have a go at?
I like the one, I can't remember the name of it, where you go smashing through the walls and then you climb over the wall.
Yeah,
that's a newish one, isn't it?
I don't know what its name is. I want to call it Fury or something. That's just the name of the Gladiator.
Maybe it's just called Smash and Run. And most of the other ones, I used to think I might have a go of that one, Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Is that the one where you run through the wall?
You run through the zones,
but then
and they're not allowed to pin you. They can only
but
sort of
there's been some big injuries on that. I keep looking, thinking, I don't know.
Yeah,
flinging them around.
If Diamond got injured on Powerball, wasn't it, that one? Because she's not been in it for most of the
and so
series
is Bionic.
now,
Is that his name?
Bionic, yeah.
He dislocated his shoulder, I think.
Well.
Yeah, and Legend did it right in the beginning, didn't he? So, saying that, each of the times they do the Travelator, I am screaming at the telly, going, go on, keep running. After our discussion about whether they slowed it down the second time, me and my husband sit there and watch and say, do you reckon they slowed that one down?
What did you think? No.
It's hard to tell, really. It's really hard to tell, but in fact, the ones for semi-final, they pretty much all ran up it. They know the tactic now to wait, catch your breath, and then go for it. Yeah,
then go. Yeah, was it? I'm
Although
sure
somebody
it was this
missed
season.
it because that.
Yeah, did someone thwack off the side of it at one point?
Maybe,
feeling something ouchy.
There's been some lots of ouchy things, and one went backwards on the rope, and then they had to do it again.
People that couldn't get up the rope.
Yeah, but Emily, who went to Cambridge, I believe.
Yes,
she is
studied
in the
in
final.
Cambridge. Yeah,
So
we have Cambridge girl in the final.
Yeah.
From London, but studied at Cambridge University. I don't remember if they said what college she was at.
No.
So we don't know. But I think she might have got through as a fastest loser. And I think on the men's side, both of the finalists came in because other people got injured.
Yes, that's
and
right.
I say that's fair. You came in, they needed another contestant in. Good luck to you.
They were both very fast on the men's as well, even though they didn't win their round, but then someone got injured and they took over.
They were both really good
and really
then
fast.
You could look back and say, actually, maybe they were a bit on foot. It's just one of those things that they didn't get through. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see.
So who's in the finals again? So it's Emily against
Emily and Naomi, who are both in the final, and Ella went out.
And then the men, it's Josh and Tyler, as you were saying, who got in through various strokes of luck, but not really strokes of luck, more like they were still giving it all and they got through. So that's brilliant. I feel sorry, someone who was looking really good and then he got injured just before the Travelator, and I kept thinking, go on, give it a go. But I don't think he could hardly walk. But I always wonder whether they're going to get a free pass into another year. Not free pass, but get to compete again, but they probably wouldn't.
I have seen people online say that. I want to say it was Mo or someone that looked really good for the title and then went out, and people said, let him come back next year. But I can't remember if that was ever the case before. I mean, not that they have to do it. It was in previous years, but you kind of feel like maybe they'll look and see what contestants they've got next year.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it's unfinished business for the person that did it. You wonder what if I could have done that.
I feel sure they have had people back in the past, because it's kind of a bit of a narrative for them, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see on that one. Now to roller skating. Now, my roller skating hasn't really come on that much since I last spoke, but there has been a roller disco at the Warehouse. This is the indoor skate park in Cambridge, last Saturday, the 21st of March, and it looked really fun. I wasn't there, I couldn't go, but I've seen, they had all this, they had disco ball, they had all the lights, you could hire skates, and it looked like everyone was having a really good time. And coming up, if you are into roller skating or you did it as a child or you've done it in the past and you fancy having a go again, getting a bit of nostalgia, Cambridge Corn Exchange are doing a roller disco on Saturday the 9th of May as part of their 150-year celebrations, because they used to do roller skating there back in the day, apparently.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, there's some photographs in their exhibition about it. And you can hire skates and everything, so tickets are available for that now. So I reckon that'll be a really fun night. And that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much to all our guests and for you for listening.
You can listen back to all of our shows on demand at cambridge.radio, and we're also on podcasting platforms. Our next show will be in 2 weeks on 9th of April on Cambridge Radio.
And we will be discussing Reformer Pilates with Katie Summers. She's the studio manager for Reform Studios at the Marley site, and now they have a second studio at Eddington as well. Goodbye.
Women's Sports Mix. This is Cambridge Radio.